Hey guys, this is Agostino. I am the host of the Bulletproof Cash Flow Show. Check me out on the Jesse T Show airing this week. It's one you don't want to miss. Oh man, I'll tell you. So, like I said, without having a reason to be, right? Without having that goal, without having the how should I say, your why defined,
Yep.
you tend to just float
Drift. Yep.
and drift. And that's exactly what I did. I was drifting from company to company, from place to place, interviewing for jobs I didn't want. And when I do end up with some of these companies, they're pretty shitty companies,
They
and
don't align with what you really truly want because you didn't really define what that was.
yes. And they were just bad individuals that didn't know what they were doing. They had no business doing what they were doing. Didn't know how to run a company. I mean, there's plenty of those people out there,
Sure.
and I'm sure for many of the folks out there right now who might be looking for a job, you can't say that. You can't say I work for a crappy company to the next company that you're interviewing at, because then you look like the bad guy.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. I think it sucks that that's what it is, because people do end up at shitty companies. They just do.
Absolutely.
But
shitty
you know
bosses,
what?
Shitty people to work with, shitty culture, all that.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that happened to me on several occasions. At one point, I ended up going to work for some company in Florida, and became very friendly with the owner. He's like, "Oh yeah, come on down. You'll be running all the technology. Like we can do all these great things at this company." So I get down there, and then of course the company is on the verge of bankruptcy. I mean, he totally lied to me, right? He totally lied, and I'm like, "Oh man, what did I just get myself into?" It was terrible. So it's like. And every time you make a mistake like that, it costs time and it costs money. And the thing is that we never get time back, guys. Our time never comes back. So I just wasted a bunch of time there. And then not to mention too, I also was supposed to get stock in the company, which never materialized. And so I took a lower pay and with the promise I was supposed to get some stock, which never showed up. And
with common stock, you never get paid out in a liquidation when the company goes bankrupt.
Right. And on top of it, right. I mean, there was a point there that I was going from company to company to company. I was renting apartments. I mean, they cut off my power, man. I mean, I had no power.
Damn.
Everything was shut off the water, shut off the power, couldn't pay the bills. That's how bad it got.
How long did you run in that way of life for? How long did that go on?
It went on for, I'd say, almost a year,
What did you do? How did you get crafty with power? Did you get candles, lanterns? Did you have?
Yeah, I mean, part of it is that I ended up having to use credit cards. I had to borrow money from my parents. I mean, it was awful, man.
Yeah,
it was awful, and it isn't like my parents are wealthy either. It's it was a very terrible time. And
through the year, were you depressed a little bit? Were you still trying to fight through it? Were there lulls and peaks, kind of thing? Like, how was that year? That was the darkest year, it sounds like, for you.
It's funny because that was a pretty bad time, but it wasn't even the darkest year. It actually got worse after that. So it was often very depressing. I would try to seek solace, like in trying to go get dates with women and stuff like that, which is not the right way to do it, I mean, just because you didn't want to be lonely, and that was so, again, not focused. That's why focus is super, super important.